Welcome, everybody. It is another day, and we are here today. It's me, Onyo Nyabor, Peter Clampton, the writer of The Girl and the Beast. And today we are actually going to be taking a look at Volume 3. And as I go through and kind of do my editorial process, it's going to be releasing later this month. And, well, when it's recorded, but yeah, it might already be out based off of when you're watching this. And so just learning some things that I do with the writing, it's an opportunity to experience the story as well as, yeah, I just want to be able to show people the editorial process, what's going through my head, and ultimately, when you write, what it looks like and how to do it. So I'm super excited. This is the long-awaited third volume. I've been wanting to release this. It's been 7 years since I released the second one, and I've written several, but I hadn't released them just because I had a bunch of stuff come up, but now we're able to release it. Now, if you've read the first volume and the first and second volume, you know what's up. If you haven't, check out the link down below so you can catch up with volume 1 and volume 2 to see what's going on here. I do recommend checking those out, but also just jumping in and just learning what you can about writing. I did some videos earlier on the prologue, so we've already done the first bit of this, but now we're jumping into the actual story, and I'm super excited about that. So without further ado, let's get to it. But before we do get started, actually, please like and subscribe. It really helps the video. It makes a tremendous difference and helps me get these videos out to more people, as well as if you need help with writing and any more writing, we'll talk more about that at the end of the video with Pro-Lit-Fic, the sponsor of today's video. Anyway, so let's get into the actual writing of The Girl and the Beast, Volume 3. Now, we've just done the prologue, which is where a bunch of people, a mayor got attacked in a town, and seriously, go check it out. And that's related to the story, but I just want the story to stand for itself. So now we're going to jump into the story so far, explaining everything that's happened. So the story so far, it has been over 3 decades since the collapse of mankind. The world teems with danger at every turn. Raging mutants roam the old cities of mankind. Monsters from the wasteland attack without mercy. Men have turned on each other for survival, but in this chaos there's still wonder and hope for mankind. Turning to one another, Bibi and Lucy have found friendship and survival in the harsh wasteland of the post-apocalypse. It has been several months since the Zero's heroic reclamation of the Western Reach's water supply. Enjoying their funds and going on another adventure while evading the authorities of the reorganized federal government, they find themselves in an old world city with ties to Lucy's past and their future. With the discovery of her parents' secret lab and the trail of goons after them, Bibi and Lucy go underground and are on the trail of Lucy's parents to discover the mystery of the blue pendant and her parents' work. Since that day, the girls have gone on many adventures, from running from bandits, fighting the creatures of the wasteland, to artifact hunting. Their bond has grown stronger, and along with their companions, Ringo the red ferret and Vargo, the gigantic six-legged blue horse, the girls find themselves on the heels of the center, the heels of a re-emerging civilization. Re-emerging. So that's 2 E's. There we go, see? With one last job to do, they teeter on the tipping point of a much greater adventure ahead of them. Greater ahead. Boom. And then we just do a simple edit. I think that sounds okay. There's nothing I hate about it. So let's go on to the next bit. And that's the story so far. So what I do, if you guys don't know, I work in Scrivener. And so it's a really, really great program if you guys haven't used it. I have an affiliate link down below, so feel free to check it out. First 30 days are completely free. And it's not the 30 days, it's 30 times you can use it. So, I mean, you could have it on your computer for months. But let's go into part 1, the heist of The Girl and the Beast. So the sun was high in the sky and beat down upon the desert. Golden brown sands and dust rolled in the valley of tall rocks and hills. Sitting amongst these hills, a rider clad in black was looking for something. Dark as the night side of the moon, upon a horse draped in midnight, a stark contrast to the warmth all around. To the warm brown sands surrounding surrounding him. He followed the trail behind a roar that echoed in the canyon. The hover train on the distant mountain range raced across the plain on the edge of the canyon. It followed a complex network of subterranean magnetic coils laced throughout the mountain range. Because we used mountain range twice. So distant mountain. So we'll just do the distant mountain. Hover train on the distant mountain raced across the plain on the edge of the canyon. It followed a complex network of subterranean magnetic coils. Because it's obvious. At first glance, the plain seemed empty save the lone train roaring in the distance, but as it crossed along a nearby mountain change, a small dust trail exploded from the top of a nearby plateau, a wake of dirt kicked up by a massive, blue-scaled, six-legged horse. And this is clue in the character. You're pushing Vargo kind of hard, Bibi. You think you're going to make it? Lucy said, peering through her rifle scope as Bibi and Vargo blasted across the plain. The horse charged forward as the extra set of legs defied gravity and rocketed him and his rider towards the train. Bibi tightened her hat and glared back at the desert plateau where Lucy spied on them. I thought I told you to flip the cover of the scope until you were ready to shoot. Bibi's voice chimed in Lucy's earpiece. How else am I supposed to cover you? Lucy pulled away to rub her eyes. Plus, I'm at least half a mile out. There's no way they'll see me. I can see you, Bibi replied. That's because you know where to look. Besides, what does it matter? It's not like they can do anything about it anyway. You're about to rock their world, remember? Lucy wiped the sweat out of her eyes and hunkered down to adjust the scope. She hid underneath a shawl that mixed in with the brown of the desert for camouflage and protection from the sun's rays. Sand was places it should never have been, and it took everything in her not to rip her pants and shoes off. Oh, okay, there you go. That's an interesting way to say it. Let's actually get bigger here. She hid. Okay, now we're here. So she's just hiding underneath the sand here. Though sweltering, she was well covered and in prone position with the barrel of the rifle barely exposed. It would be a keen eye indeed if anyone saw her. She's got a point, a husky male voice chimed in over the earpiece. It was Jack. This was Bibi's friend and contact for the job. Don't bother with small fish when you got whales to harpoon. The train is almost in position. You sure that horse of yours is fast enough for this? We can start later if you need time, Jack asked. And ruin the plan? Trust me, Jack. He's more than fast enough. Just make sure your boys are in position. Bibi huffed in the earpiece. And how about your friend? Is he ever going to show up? Jack asked. Bibi seemed to have a lot of friends, none of which Lucy knew, or knew Lucy. Don't know. I sent him the message, got nothing back. I don't know why you insisted on the ranger anyway. We don't need his type on this kind of job. His type? Bibi rebutted. Yeah, dark, brooding, unpredictable. Don't know what he's all about. Doesn't have rules. You just described yourself, Jack. Yeah, and there's only enough room for one badass. Big head much? Lucy thought to herself. Bibi laughed. You better hope to hell he shows up, Jack. A job like this, we need all the badasses we can get. Why the hell do you say that? Murphy's Law, Bibi said. What's Murphy's Law? Lucy asked. It means anything that can go wrong will go wrong and at the worst possible time, Jack gruffed. But not today. Today we're outlaws and we make our own rules. The universe doesn't care, Jack. Bibi said. You're starting to sound like the ranger. Jack grunted. You got 5 minutes. See you there, Toots. Jack over and out. Toots. Bibi whispered softly, more to herself than anyone else. Seemed that Bibi didn't appreciate that last comment, but then again, she never thought Bibi would agree to robbing a train. But here they were. Lucy didn't know much about how or why it had even happened. Just the job had been signed by and released through the reorganized federal government, the RFG. The item Bibi was reclaiming was in fact the government's property, but the reasons Jack Crew was hired was because the retrieval needed to be discreet. So there wouldn't be any legal ramifications for what they were about to do, for once. How's the rodent? Bibi asked as she and Vargo neared the highway along the mountainside. Ringo's fine. He's been sleeping in my bag the whole time. I'm sweating bullets and I don't know how he can deal with it. Lucy, let's kill the said, and Lucy glanced back. Lucy glanced backwards into her bag where Ringo, the red ferret, slept soundly. I hope in an hour we can be done and on our way. Lucy wiped more sweat off her brow. The air was stale and near impossible to breathe. You wouldn't do for a pool bath. This is miserable. I'll trade you, Bibi said. No, thank you. I'll stick to the sharpshooting. I just hope this rifle will work. Lucy rubbed her scout rifle up and down. It had been a great gun, but this was by far the longest shot she had ever done. 700 meters and some change. The pressure of the job wasn't helping either. This might, in terms of writing accuracy, I feel like a scout rifle making that type of shot, it's a pretty impressive shot. Like there's like Coriolis level effect kind of stuff going in at a shot at that distance. So suspend your disbelief here because Lucy's about to become like a military trained super sniper, right? Which is obviously a little difficult for a girl who just started shooting rifles a few months ago, but I'll think I'll have to take care of that in volume 4, give her some backstory as to why she's such a good shot. No, thank you. I'll stick to the sharpshooting. I just hope this rifle will work. Yada yada. Don't worry, you've trained all these months on your shot to down now. Do you see the bridge? Yeah, we definitely have to add something in for why Lucy can shoot that far. So that's actually going to go in one of my notes. So something really cool that I do, guys, is when I work in Scrivener, I basically keep all my notes in a singular place. So obviously you have like the different notes here down on the left, if you guys can't see it over here. And over on the left, so if you see that over on the left, but I specifically have this thing called a progress marker. And in my progress marker, it's always in different parts throughout it. It lets me know where I'm at in the manuscript. And usually it's hiding in somewhere. But yeah, the progress marker usually will let me know where I'm at. And I will see. So if you guys see right here, I'm in the scene frame sequence here. And usually I'll put notes in that progress marker to kind of be focused. So I need to say, put a reason. Actually, I know a perfect part on the shooting range for Lucy's ability to shoot. And there. And it's a really cool way. So you just put it down. You just put it down there, and then boom, you have it done. And that way you can then go back to what you're reading, and you haven't lost your spot, and you just kind of put that in the progress marker. You can even put it on the side here like that. Betty Davis size. And then you can just have the progress marker there, and then you can have that going, and then you just click here, and then you go into your opener. All right, it's really cool. Scrivener is a super powerful program. I feel like anyone who writes ought to use it. It's one of the strongest things out there. Anyway, back to the story. Lucy leveled her rifle away from Bibi and Vargo's dust trail, appeared at a bridge about 3 miles ahead of the train's course, near the end of the mountain range, curling around the desert. Yeah, I see it, she said. Good. Just remember what you are looking for. Track alignment will pop out of the ground to steady the train's course as we approach. Just make sure to hit it in the center. The bullets will do the rest of the work, Bibi said. Damaging the track alignment mechanism at the end of the bridge would allow the train along down long enough for Bibi and the others to make a clean getaway. Bibi and Vargo came to an old highway that ran just a dozen meters parallel to the ridge where the train was as they headed towards their boarding point. Lucy, I'm about to get on, so you've got it from here, Bibi said. Well, you'll still have your headset, won't you? Lucy asked. The headpiece went silent. Bibi? Bibi? Lucy looked through the scope and noticed Bibi fiddling with something in her pocket. Oh no. Lucy groaned, patting down her side bag. The Walkman was gone. Now, this part in the original text was super plagiarized. Basically, what I've done is in the actual manuscript, I'm going to have fake tracks that I like to play during certain parts, and I'll just have a link to it where you can click on it and it'll show you a YouTube video of the song that I imagine being played during this part. So because you can't write out the lyrics and stuff like that. But for anyone who doesn't know, the song that we'll be playing is Life is a Highway. And if you didn't notice that, I was playing that a little earlier. But that's the song that's playing as this is going. And so I imagine if this was a movie scene, that's the song that would be playing as this scene is playing out. So do me a favor and think of that song if you haven't heard of it, playing while we're going and doing this because I love this part. Anyway, back to Bibi's part where she's going towards the train. Bibi pushed play on track 1, and the music blared in Bibi's ears as she and Vargo galloped down the abandoned highway. The sound of country guitar hit the spot as she mentally rehearsed her plan to board the train. The lyrics of Life is a Highway rang through Bibi's head as the train thundered down the ridge and veered around the mountain range. Bibi would need to reach her boarding point before it reached the end of the mountain range. Oh, I use that word. Reach the end of the ridge, we'll just say, and return to the desert. About half a mile ahead, the highway broke away, leaving just a 200-foot drop to the desert floor. This was Bibi's boarding point. The train would pass under here in less than a minute. She would need to time it so she was falling onto the train just as it passed underneath the old overpass. As the train roared away, Bibi pulled out 2 large yellow bands from her backpack and wrapped each one around her wrists as they bonded and connected on the ends. Magnetic coils. She needed them to board the train. When she jumped, they would keep her from being flung from the high-speed locomotive. Still around about 400 meters left, the train came to the end of the mountain ridge and began to turn towards the overpass. She would barely make it at this rate. Her timing and aim had to be perfect. If she's off to the left or right of the train, not too much, so I'll just give it too much. The magnets wouldn't catch and she would fall to the side. If she was too late on her jump, she would miss it entirely. If she was too early, she would be pulled underneath and ripped apart by the magnetic force that propelled the train. Don't be early. Vargo's legs quaked under the ground, his large-scaled body surging with every ounce of energy he possessed. They came to the road just as the train began to pass underneath. Vargo charged the edge of the overpass with reckless abandon. The countdown started in her head as Bibi prepared for her jump. 5. The train roared like a lion as it blasted underneath the overpass. 4. Bibi stood up on the saddle. 3. She tightly strapped down her backpack. 2. She banged her wrists, activating the magnetic coils. And 1. Vargo slammed his feet into the ground, skidding just to the edge of the overpass as Bibi leapt from the saddle, getting maximum lift from Vargo's momentum. Turning in an aerial, she snapped a quick salute to the horse as she twisted forward into a full dive and plummeted towards the speeding train. The air was exhilarating as Bibi's hat popped off and trailed her long black hair. In a moment that seemed to last forever, Bibi felt like she was flying. 4 seconds and 250 feet later, Bibi slammed into the train shoulder first and bounced several times. This alone would have killed most people, but lucky Bibi wasn't most people. Bibi pushed herself up. She took a step. The wind was harder to resist than she originally anticipated and pushed her over as she struggled to stay upright. The coils changed polarity on impact to hold her to the hole. They did it slowly over a period of 3 seconds to gradually slow the momentum. Too quick, and they would have ripped Bibi's arm off from the sudden change in direction. Bibi side rolled and bounced across the hole, struggling to keep balance as the coil on her left arm shattered and flew off her wrist. Cheap piece of... Bibi hit the hole with another bounce and careened towards the edge. She wouldn't have enough resistance to stop from falling from the train. Reacting on pure instinct as the one magnetic coil slowed her just enough to push herself up, she pressed on the right big toe in her shoe, which ejected a 2-inch blade, the secret agent. She slammed the sharpened tongue. So one thing I do is I over-describe things. She slammed the tungsten. We're going to take out sharp because it's sharpened. The tungsten carbide blade. And we say blade twice, so that's not good. So she slammed the tungsten carbide blade into the roof of the train, tearing a large gash in the roof of it into the roof. Tearing a large gash into the roof. Period. Kill out redundancies. Bibi was slowing down, but it wouldn't be enough as she fought the forces of her fall and the G-forces of the train. She pulled the surgeon, her side knife, from her foot and forced it into the gash in front of her. She continued to slide. The charge in her right coil reached maximum strength. 2 meters left. Bibi curled into a ball and pushed out onto the stretching gash with all her strength. 1 meter. The wind howled. The plane stretched out before Bibi as she sent out a silent prayer. Bibi's unbladed foot fell off the train. The other remained in the roof, bringing her to a full stop, just a few feet from the edge. The gash stretched out more than half the train car. Bibi pulled her foot out as the boot and blade were shredded and broken. Bibi fought to stay balanced but pulled herself up. With the other coil gone, it would take her too long to enter the car she needed from the overhead hatch. Pulling herself along the gash she just made, Bibi managed to get to the middle hatch. Her hands were shaking and bleeding as she reached down to grab Calican, her 50 caliber revolver. She blasted the hinges of the roof hatch open. She took one last look around at the plane around her and took a second to feel the wind that only a minute before was trying to kill her. She wanted to enjoy the view longer, enjoy the sun and the sky, but with the bridge fast approaching in the distance, it was time to get to work. With one last sigh, Bibi crouched down and rolled down the hatch into the train. It was time to get to work. Okay. So we repeat if there's time to get to work. But with the bridge, she took one last sigh and crouched down. Crouched down and rolled down the hatch into the train. It was time to get to work. Okay, guys, so you just saw that last little adjustment there. I didn't give much of a commentary, but hopefully you guys saw it. Anyway, so she's just rolled into the train and we've hit our natural pause in part 1. We are still technically in the first part of the heist because there are multiple parts, and I am trying to make more natural chapter breaks, but I've just decided because it is a one-shot. When I say one-shot, these books are supposed to be read ideally in about 2 or 3 hours, right? They're supposed to be a novella series, and so they have these really huge parts, but this first part is absolutely gigantic. And the first time I wrote it, I had a different chapter heading for it, but yeah, now it's just gotten absolutely gigantic. Like just this first part right here is 2,100 words, right? And then we have another 4,000 words for the first part. So usually I try to break it up into different chapters, but the thing is, if you start doing that, then it's like mini chapters. So really what I try to do is like I just have to have little pauses or breaks if people want to get off. And I'll put a star for a change of scene. But usually, because I want to keep at most 6 or 7, 8 parts total, right? And I want to keep it around 35 to 40,000 words. So about 5,000 words to 6,000 words per part. And so this is about hours for that. And yeah, that's just how the Girl and the Beast rolls. We're not really doing traditional chapters. Anyway, so this is the first part of part one of many parts of volume 3 of the Girl and the Beast. I'm super excited. Check it out. My goal is to be able to finish it up in about a month's worth of videos, so about 15 videos. Uh, so yeah, we'll go from there. The first part is definitely the longest. The first part and then part in the middle are definitely the longest. All the other parts are very short. So we should be able to knock most of those out. But yeah, this is the first part of part one of the Girl and the Beast. I'll just say part one, section one, or whatever. I'll just put one of one or whatever, and I'll make sure to number them. Anyway, this is, if you guys are interested in learning more about writing and writing tips, keep checking out stuff on the channel, like and subscribe. And for those of you who don't know, I own a writing career education platform for writers to, better writing and improve sort of life standard of writing. I'm super excited to just keep adding more things on the YouTube channel and doing this series for my book as well as the book of others, clients who qualify and whose writing I really enjoy. Right now, I'm reading Feather Sharp of Knives. Those will happen every other day, and that is a fantastic book. I'm super enjoying reading it, and it comes out in May. Guys should totally hear the read through, get the story, and get the book because I'm super loving it, and I'm super excited that from my clients, Christina, and so I'm super happy about that. Anyway, thanks so much for your time and listening to Volume 3, Part 1 of 1, and look forward to hearing more from you guys. Thanks so much. Stay happy. Uh, Let me make sure. Ugh. Stay happy and take care. Um, yeah, stay happy, stay healthy, and remember, keep writing. Peace.